Hey guys, Chris here from Boxing Brothers Online Coaching. Today I'm going to give you some tips and advice about hitting the floor to ceiling. I get a lot of questions as to how do you hit the floor to ceiling, and I always answer with the same answer. The best way to learn how to hit the floor to ceiling is to hit the floor to ceiling. It's a really difficult skill to teach and to transfer knowledge of. You need to spend time with that ball to understand its timing and really respect what it's there for. There's some things to really keep in mind, and the first thing I'm going to touch on is the transferring of weight. Now, whenever somebody hits the heavy bag, there's no repercussions when you hit the heavy bag. You can hit it as hard as you want, and you can transfer your weight into those punches. You can kind of sit on your shots, and there's no consequence. When it comes to the floor to ceiling, you've got to keep in mind that the ball is bouncing back and forth. There's a consequence when it comes to hitting the ball. It's going to come back to you, and depending on the ball, it might come back a little bit faster than others. So you want to be cautious as to how you're transferring your weight behind your shots. So when you're hitting the ball, you want to make sure that you're keeping your weight away from the ball. You're keeping your weight in the center, you're transferring it relatively equally between both feet, and you're letting your hands travel towards the target, but your body and your weight stays back. Okay? So when I hit that ball, you notice that I'm keeping my weight relatively centered, and I'm letting my hands go out to the target. I'm stretching and I'm rotating on the axis. I'm relying on the rotation at my axis to cover the distance between myself and the ball so that I can hit the ball without getting hit. Okay? So whenever you're hitting that ball, keep your weight back, establish your range with the jab in a way that you can hit the ball, execute the jab, which is your longest range of punch, and not get hit in the process. If I can throw that jab, right, keeping my weight back as opposed to throwing that jab, stepping in and getting smacked in the head, that's where I want to be standing, and this is the distance that I want to be throwing all my shots at whenever I'm hitting the ball. Whether it be a cross, yeah, a 1-2. When I throw that right hand, I don't want to necessarily get closer to the ball. I just want to rotate my body towards it, or on the axis of my trunk. Okay, so I'm going here. I'm achieving the distance between myself and the ball by doing this, not by doing this, not by stepping to get closer. So I'm maintaining the same distance the whole time. Doesn't matter what I throw. If I throw a hook, if I throw an uppercut, yeah, if I throw a straight right, the distance remains the same. That is the key. As you progress, you will start developing the ability to fluctuate your range, but to establish your range at one distance and just let all your shots go from there, that is one of the safest and best ways to start your floor to ceiling journey. Some other obvious pointers that you want to keep in mind when you're hitting the ball, you want to make sure you're hitting it in the center. Okay? If you hit it a little bit too high, a little bit on the edge, you're not going to get the response from the ball that you want. It's not going to go back and forth, okay? Because that's where you want the ball traveling. You want it to be going back and forth, okay? So you want to make sure that you're hitting the ball in the center, not too high, not too low, and not on the sides. Also, in the case in which the ball does go off center, you've got two options essentially. So if I've hit the ball, or maybe I've thrown a hook, so I've intentionally made it go left and right, I can either try to use my reflexes and my hand-eye coordination to try to catch the ball and get it back in the center and keep boxing it, or I can use that as an opportunity to move around the ball. So if that ball starts going a little bit wonky, I can use that as an opportunity to re-establish the positioning against the ball and then continue boxing from there. Okay, so whenever the ball goes off center, use it as an opportunity to improve your boxing. Get your feet moving, or try to use your hand-eye coordination to get the ball back to where you want it to be. Another thing is with the ball, you don't want to be just focusing on hitting it too hard, especially in your early stages. You don't want to sit there trying to slam the ball, okay? As you progress, absolutely, you can absolutely hit the ball really hard and fast, but try to increase your speed. Try to throw the shot and bring it back to your guard to the best of your ability, and incorporate head movement. That's the next thing. You want to make sure that you're exercising the ability to get your head off the center from the ball. So the best way to practice that is to do it on its own. So just get the ball moving first, so that there's lots of momentum, and then just try to get your timing and get your head off the center of the ball, and then incorporate your punches. From those shots, try to, off your left hand, slipping to the left. Off your left hand, slipping to the right. And then off your 1-2, slipping to the right. Off the 1-2, slipping to the right. Off the 1-2, slipping to the left, then slipping to the right. Off the 1-2, slipping to the right, etc. One common thing I see, because it's the easy way out, people like to throw their jab, and because their body's fixated in that position naturally, having thrown the jab, they just drop into that direction. Or having thrown the right hand, they drop into that direction, which is excellent. Absolutely practice that, but also practice the ability to throw your 1-2 and then retract the punch and use the retraction of that punch to leverage you into that slip. Likewise with the left, so punching with the left, slipping with the left, pulling that shot back and using the retraction as leverage to get your head off the center. And then from that slip, throwing again. Yeah? So from my left, I pull my left back, slip, up, I let my 1-2 go. Off my 1-2, I'm moving, 1-2, slip, bang, right hand. And so forth. Yeah? Slip, etc. Also try to control the ball as much as you can with your feet. Okay? So when it comes to moving around the ball, try to get your punches and your feet moving at the same time. Pull with just a jab first. Just orbit around the ball. And then orbiting around the other side. Just small, little, tiny steps. Likewise with the right hand. Get the right hand going, orbiting around that ball. Likewise into the opposite direction. Yeah, and then your 1-2s. And before you know it, you get your head moving on. You're just progressing into one direction and then into the other. And before you know it, it all comes together really nicely. You've got your footwork, your movement, your head movement, your jab, your distance, your range. You've established how to transfer your weight. Be patient and let the ball teach you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.